uplifting women and people of color in the information security and cybersecurity industries. I'd like to give you both an opportunity to do an introduction and let us know which organizations you're representing and why you're passionate about them.
Sure. I guess I'm Nicole Schwartz. I work at Active State as a PM during the day, but at night I am COO of the Diana Initiative, and our mission is to build a more inclusive information security industry. And then when I have a little bit of time after that, when I ought to be sleeping, I also help run SkyTalks Village at DEF CON.
Yay! I am Tanisha Martin. I am the executive director and founder of Black Girls Hack. Similar to Diana Initiative, we were set up to help increase diversity in cybersecurity so that we can start to see more women in, like, for example, hacking fields, and then in the executive suites and like leadership. I also am the founder of Girls Hack Village at DEF CON. So that's very exciting for us because we will be coming back for our second year.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. All right. Nicole, would you mind telling us a little bit more about the Diana Initiative, why it was founded, and what your mission is for those who aren't aware?
Sure. So about 8 years ago, a bunch of ladies got together having food at DEF CON and kind of noticed that it was hard to find people who could relate to the problems they went through. Anyone who's in any underrepresented group knows that there's going to be unique challenges you have to overcome. And it's nice to be able to talk to people about that so that you can kind of collab on how do we overcome this problem, or, okay, I don't feel so alone about that. And the idea was born. So it started out as kind of a rogue, we're going to just do this in a suite. So like a suite party type situation. And eventually grew when we kept breaking fire code and trying to stuff way too many people into a suite to its own conference. This year, we are attempting to kick off Hacker Summer Camp. For those of you who are unaware, that is the nickname for the week in Las Vegas when a ton of hacker events happen. So that would be B-Sides Las Vegas, Diana, Black Hat, and DEF CON. And so we're kicking it off this year on Monday. And this will be our 6th year of events. And this will be, I believe, our 3rd year in the Westin, because there was like the weird little COVID years that we'll just ignore that were online.
We're not going to talk about those.
Yeah, they didn't happen. Our theme this year is Lead the Change, and that kind of goes into what we want all of our speakers to be speaking to, at least if they're not doing a technical deep dive into something. And in general, our mission is just to have a more inclusive and diverse information security industry.
That's wonderful. Tanisha, do you want to share more about Black Girls Hack, why you founded that organization, and your mission?
Absolutely. We've only been around for 3 years now. We actually started as an Instagram page, and it was literally because I was trying to get into the cybersecurity field full time, and I was having a hard time. And I have, a bunch of degrees and a bunch of certifications, and I was saying that if I was having a hard time, I imagine that other people who do not have all of my many years in this world experience, that they would also be having a hard time. So my goal was to basically just share humble bundles and like discounts on training, so that people who were basically trying to like self-teach themselves, that they would be able to have discounts. Because I actually grew up in a world where Amazon was just a bookseller originally, and like textbooks when I was in school like many decades ago were like $200 to $300 like for each class, right? So like when Humble Bundle came out and they're like 20 books for like $20, I was like, yes. And they're all on like hacking topics. So I was like, this is like literally gold. Everybody needs to know about this. And we kind of just grew from there. And I started doing like hands-on workshops to teach like hands-on like keyboard skills to people who were interested in getting in ethical hacking. So as I was teaching myself, I was literally saying, hey, guys, come along on the journey with me and come. And then at some point, somebody was like, hey, you should really make this into a nonprofit, so that people can actually give you money to help with all of the training that you're doing to help people. And our organization has grown since then. We've got, I think it's like 100 volunteers and maybe 1,000 or so members. And we, still host our classes 5-6 days a week. I don't teach them myself anymore, but we are specifically focused on reskilling and upskilling people in all areas of cybersecurity, not just hacking. So that's, how we got here. And we actually started Girls Hack Village because, when we were going, there were not, we went in the first year that I went to Blacks in Cybersecurity Village. And I was like, there's a space here for people of color, right? But I don't really see a space here for women specifically. And there was the Diana Initiative had their own conference and they were doing their own thing. But like, there really wasn't anything specifically during DEF CON, that was for women. So I thought that I would, create Girls Hack Village to bring a voice to women hackers that are in the space so they could talk about their own experiences. I think much of what, like Nicole was saying, for why they started the Diana Initiative, because it's like we don't hear our voices at conferences. They're super male, they're, super homogenous, and, we don't tend to see, people who look like us or have some of the same experiences.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think it's so fantastic that both of your organizations are bringing a unique perspective to cybersecurity and having that representation for those that are coming into the field or who are even considering it. It's so intimidating not to know where to start. And I think all of us had that first year of DEF CON where we're just going like, I don't know where I can go that's safe. Where can I go to find people who have, similar interests to me that I'm going to feel comfortable and safe around and who I trust to teach me? That's huge. So I commend you both. And I have had the most fantastic time watching your organizations grow, being involved with the CFP as a CFP review board member at the Diana Initiative has been so exciting for me to see the new talks and new ideas and things that are being contributed by our communities. And putting together, you mentioned 1,000 members like it was just nothing, like a throwaway number, but creating a community, especially these days, is so difficult. Getting folks to really invest in a new online community or even in-person communities is really tough. So I think you're both doing an amazing job, and I would love to learn more about why you've both decided to collaborate. Your two organizations are working together this year, and more about how you're working together.
Absolutely.
I forget who reached out to who, but I think we both were like, this is a great idea.
Yeah, I think when we met, like it was definitely, we were on the same page and we're like, we definitely need to make this happen. Because, I think that when you just hear about what it is that we're both trying to do, it's along the same lines. We have the same type of mission. We want to see more women in the space. We want to see more, of the industry's others in the space. So when we started talking about it, things just started really clicking into place. And I can tell you, I've reached out to so many different organizations like, hey, let's work together because we're stronger together. And like Nicole was like, hey, let's make this happen. There wasn't like, a whole bunch of the stuff that I see from some of the other organizations, because some people are like, hey, let's do this. And some people are like, you're my competition. So, I absolutely love that, Nicole was like, welcoming and like, hey, we're the OGs in this space and, welcome, let's do this together. So I am very much appreciative, that they are partnering with us on our scholarship program this year.
And we 100% have the same objective, and we've been running a scholarship. They've been running a scholarship. And why compete? Kind of to your point, like I do not see any other group that is trying to improve the industry in any way, shape, or form as our competition. I would rather collaborate and defer to somebody else who is doing something better. Like it seems silly there is so little to go around. Right. Why are we going to argue over the scraps? And being able to bring Marie, our scholarship lead, was able to bring 5 people in last year and get them, take them out to lunch and, all sorts of wonderful things, get them mentoring so that they can make the most out of Hacker Summer Camp. Because if you come into Hacker Summer Camp and have never done it before, my first one was DEF CON 8, you don't know that you should go off strip and hit Albertsons and get snackies because the hotel's going to charge you an arm and a leg for snackies.
Mm-hmm.
And just having all of that at your disposal to have it be make sure you follow up with people on Twitter or Mastodon, making sure that you're, having some kind of thing with your icon so that people can recognize you, like all of those things you don't think of, and just making it so anyone getting the scholarship who is going to have that opportunity to do the fullest advantage of the week that is possible. And I really love that both of us were trying to do that on our own and are now doing it together. And so we don't have to keep like fighting for both of us to be like, hey, such and such company, can you donate to the scholarship? And they might be like, oh, well, I already donated to this organization. So it's like, oh, awesome.
Right.
We're working together. It's a common bucket.
Yeah, I think that that's wonderful.
Yeah, I was going to say like that, the first time that I went, this is actually I've only been to 2 years of DEF CON. And the first year, like I literally almost died. Like, I did not have any of those pro tips. I did not have any of those, I was not prepared. Like I came with brand new shoes. I was trying to be cute. I literally like, but did you die though? Like
but actually almost
I came
did.
so
Yes.
close. Like it was 100 degrees there.
It's so
it was
warm.
So hot. Oh, and new shoes. Did I mention new shoes? Like the blisters.
Ouch.
Like I still think of blisters. So, it was good to, be able to talk and hear about like, their experience in the space. I think I also reached out when we started our village, say, hey, can you give me some advice, on running a village in the space, just because they've been doing this, like Nicole said, for 8 years. And I was like, we're not trying to recreate the wheel. Like we want to learn from, the experience of people who have been here before. So, just being able to learn from her experience. And Nicole has so much freaking information in her head. I think just from the Sky Talks and just being in this space, like she knows all the things. You just have to ask the questions.
Yeah, that collaboration I think is so essential to call out because it is a natural tendency, I think, for humans to want to compete, especially for resources. And the fact that you're both able to kind of suspend that ego in, we sent so many people with scholarships, or we were able to do this all on our own and work together for the greater good to enable more people to be able to attend. That's phenomenal because I think that there are a lot of organizations out there that are allowing decisions to be driven by ego instead of by their missions. And that kind of leads me into our next point, and that is, from your perspectives, why is it so important to ensure diversity, equity, and inclusion within the cybersecurity industry?
Ooh, do you have time?
I do. Tell us all the things.
I think the biggest thing for me, so I'm a pen tester. So like I think I was probably 9 months in before I saw another woman hacker. I was 18 months in before I saw a Black woman hacker, and I actually brought that woman into the company that I was working for. And, we don't tend to see a lot of women in this space. So, I had heard tell that, previous iterations of DEF CON and Black Hat, like the line to the women's bathroom was always short. Like there weren't a lot of women. But then also it had like
What line?
What line? It was like ghost town.
It also had a reputation for not necessarily being a safe space for women, right? Even, I think last year, if you look at some of the comments under, some of our interviews or some of our videos that we posted from Hacker Summer Camp, people were like, oh, this woke BS. And, there were so many people who had thoughts and feelings on why, you just being a hacker is not enough, right? But I can't tell you like how often, people assume because I'm a woman or because I'm Black or whatever, assumptions that, they'll assume that I'm not technical or that, they have to, basically break things down to very like, elementary levels because they feel like don't deserve to be in the same space that they are. And I think that when we look at things like the conferences, like the talks, the panels, it's generally the same types of people. It's the same, it's generally white men, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but there are other people in the space, right? And I think that people want to be able to see themselves in the industry. So, representation matters. But then I also think that there are so many, downstream benefits to having more diversity. And when we look at things like machine learning and algorithms and, just the way that people are using, for example, like ChatGPT, and they're like, hey, there's no bias in this. We're good to go. This is going to take over the world and eliminate all the positions. And, when you look at these things, especially like things like error rates on like, facial recognition for Black women, which I think is the highest among any other groups. I think it's like 30%.
Astronomical.
And it's like, if 30% of the time you're getting my face wrong, that means that 30% of the time I may end up in jail because you mistake me for somebody else. And I think that these systems are not going to learn, they're not going to grow until we get, more researchers, more, PhD students, more people in the space that are interested in looking at the downstream implications, So I think that companies need to focus more on, how they can increase diversity in their own, ranks. And then, I think the conference people need to also take a look at the people that they're bringing, are they making an effort to make sure that there's representation, not just, gender or race or, all of the different others, there are neurodiversity. There are so many different others that are not represented in the field right now. So I think that that's something that it's a universal problem and not just, us lowly, nonprofit runners that are, trying to make a difference.
And I look at this from many different angles. One of the angles to look at this from is profitability. A company is more effective and profitable, this has been proven over and over, if they have a diverse team. This is for a number of reasons. This is because you have, and again, this is all the intersectionalities. This is not just gender or race, which is why our mission is to make it a more diverse, we are not, everyone thinks we're women. Oh, see, did my headset come back?
You're back.
Okay, sorry. So a lot of people will look at things from, which intersectionality is this? And it's important that we're considering all of them because you need to think about problems from every different angle. You are selling to the world, or you are protecting your assets from the world. If you are not able to consider all of the different ways that someone might attack you, or that someone might be trying to use your product, or all the different people that are trying to use your product, you're either missing out on market or you're missing out on part of your risk profile. And so, a lot of people consider TDI like, oh, it's a women's conference. And we keep trying to break that thing. Like, it's not that we don't want to be, like, women are welcome, we love you, but it's for anyone underrepresented in the industry. Non-binary people, trans people, people who are coming not from the US, because getting a job in the US, if you're not native to the US, is difficult. So if you're underrepresented, we would like to help you. And that's because that makes companies more profitable. Also, the representation matters. If you are not able to be yourself and bring yourself to work, let's see the Crown Act that hopefully is going through, you can't do your best work if you are not able to bring yourself to work. And the more people you see similar to you or that let you be yourself, the more productive you're going to be, the better you're going to be, the more relaxed you're going to be. And then also the cat and mouse kind of problem of right now, people are like, oh, it's lowering the bar. No, it's not lowering the bar. You're lowering the bar when you're just only sticking to people that the algorithm has said, oh, everybody who goes to Harvard is going to be perfect. Nothing against Harvard, but it's like you've made a correlation that's not actually a causation. And so again, getting the people to understand that we're going to do this better, we're going to be better as a company, as a product, if we're more diverse. And so I would love conferences to all do calls for paper where you're not looking at the information of the person who's submitting. We do that, as you know. Thank you for being one of the reviewers. And it results in really amazing, diverse sets of speakers. And that is not because we're weighting it towards those people. It's because we have removed that bias.
Right. I would absolutely echo that sentiment because when you're including people from underrepresented groups, you're not only including that group, but you're able to take advantage of a unique perspective because those people have completely different experiences in life and they can see risks and they can see, you know, abilities to make things more cost efficient or to optimize processes that are different and unique from those that we find in the most common viewpoints that are already included in our industry. So that's absolutely a fantastic point. When we remove those classifications and categorizations, we can really start to see where the most insightful perspectives are and then include those. And working as a CFP review board member for the Diana Initiative, it also enables us to give feedback that is genuine based on the talk that is submitted, and it's not colored with the name of the submitter or their perceived fame within the industry. And I say that as somebody who is approached a lot as like a token woman speaker, and it is to the point where, you know, this conference is on, you know, I don't know, let's say like machine learning and automation. And I'm like, I am not a machine learning or automation expert, but you want me to speak because you recognize my name and I'm a woman, and that's not okay either. So I think just removing that, focusing on skill, and then allowing naturally that diversity to come into the perspectives that we're sharing in conferences is so, so important.
You
And I
know
think
what,
we do a
Lily?
great job of that year over year. Mm-hmm.
I really take the opposite view from you on that particular
Oh,
point.
okay.
Okay. Let me tell you why. I can't tell you how many times I'm invited to a panel specifically because of the fact that they need some color or they need a woman on the panel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I am absolutely okay with being the token, whatever it is that they tried to bring me on as, whether that be a woman or the token Black person. And the reason being is because that gives me a greater opportunity to be able to speak about what it is that I'm doing and, you know, get greater
Sure.
visibility, right? So even though, you know, their motives in doing it are, you know, we need, you know, this panel is super white, I need a Black person, right? I'm actually okay with being that Black person because then that gives me the opportunity to talk about what it is that I'm doing and then let other people know as well, right? And I think that being able to see people in those spaces, you know, I think inspires other people to submit, you know, CFPs to things like the Diana Initiative or to, you know, conferences so that we can start to see, you know, because it's one thing to say, you know, hey, we want to try to have a focus on more diversity, but then how do you convince people to, you know, get over their own, you know, I guess blockers in their mind, you know, that says, hey, I don't know enough, or I'm not technical enough, or I'm not special enough, or I'm not, uh, famous enough to be able to do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think that women, for the most part, you know, tend to talk ourselves out of a lot more things. You
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
even as simple as, you know, not applying for a job because you only hit 60% of the requirements
Yeah.
for it, right? So, you know, I think that,
Or
you know, when
shoot,
you
even if you
see
only
people,
hit 30.
right, when you see
I mean,
people,
because
and it's like one of
let's
these
be
things is
honest,
not
there are people out there applying with like 20% of the requirements going, I got this. So like
absolutely. I think that men have no, like, they're like, I think I can see myself in that title. I'll just go apply. And women will be like, I'm only at like
mm-hmm.
90%. I'm not going to apply because, you know, there's probably some people out here with 100%. And
That's
that's not the case. So
it's a
I tell people to
proven,
give
That's
it a shot.
proven. Yeah,
yep,
that's
it's a
proven.
proven fact.
My former industry to cybersecurity was staffing. And so I did global market intelligence, and we did surveys on that. And we found it to be a fact that most women would not apply for a role unless they checked every single box on the requirements. And it was a dramatically lower percentage for men when it came to submitting an application. So yeah, I think that's a really valid point, and that's great to call out. And I know that in the past I've been approached for like the 87th article about being a working mom in cybersecurity. And I always say yes, because A, I'm confident speaking about that topic. But B, I recognize that it's important to show that this is possible and that you don't have to pick one or the other. And I think that that's something that can be really, really discouraging for working mothers in every industry, but specifically in cybersecurity. It's tough. Like, it is really tough. And I'm very lucky to have the support of a very equal partner in that, family life and the parenting responsibilities, but many women are not. And just sharing perspectives, like you said, that are unique, they demonstrate that it is possible that others like us do belong here. And it is important to take an opportunity that comes to you to share your story. So thanks for calling that out, because I think that's a very important call out. I meant only that I wouldn't put myself in the position to speak about machine learning, because I'd probably make an ass out of myself. And it would be doing a disservice, I think, because it would just validate that perception that, women are less technical, et cetera, et cetera.
I think there's a couple different things that got combined there. So I'm going to kind of divide those out. I think one of them, to the point that you made, is when people are approached to be a token at something that they shouldn't be in. In your case, machine learning. In my case, don't ask me to talk about programming in C++. What, as a conference organizer, if we notice that we are not having a certain topic or a certain type of person represented in our pool, because as one of the admins, I can see the names of the people that the reviewers can't. We then proactively go out and reach out to our community partners and say, hey, we need more talks on this topic. We need more talks from this kind of person. Who do you recommend? Who can I go talk to? And we proactively reach out and pull those people in. So I don't necessarily want to say, I'm going to make you talk on this topic. It's as a conference person, you should be reaching out to make sure that you have diversity and asking somebody, who can I get to represent this specific specialization and also not be this particular type of person. And so I think the blind CFP, which is a terrible name, but the speakerless CFP reviews allows some of the reviewer bias to be lessened.
Absolutely.
I think that has to be in conjunction with the administrators of that actively working with community partners to fill in any of the gaps. And then I think that the second thing you talked about is, should people be taking opportunities that they're presented, even if they're a token? Absolutely. I agree with Tanisha there. But to your point, if you're not the specialist, you should be no, but let me go reach out to my network and secure one of those people, because we need less manholes. We need less, all white conference, speaker sets going on. And then kind of the weirder other thing that's kind of tangled in there is, absolutely, it's been proven people apply less to jobs and they apply less to conferences, which is why we specifically have the CFP mentor program between round 1 and 2, where if your talk is rejected, we will help you to improve it, not just for our event, but for any event. And I know that B-Sides Las Vegas does something similar. And I think it's really a shame that many conferences don't offer feedback to people, and they don't offer programs to help people, because you're never going to increase diversity at a lot of conferences if you're not helping people understand this is why your talk was not accepted. I think that DEF CON will provide you feedback if you get rejected and ask for feedback. I know B-Sides Las Vegas will. I know we will. I am sad at any conference that doesn't do that, because you are making it so that you're never going to have good representation.
Yeah. So thank you for your comments on that. I think in the interest of time, I'm going to try to bring it back to the scholarship program. And so I know we've discussed it at a high level, but I have 4 questions around that. And the first being, why did your organizations develop the student scholarship program?
So not everyone's company pays. That's why we started ours.
Yeah, and I would say one of the biggest shocks when I went to Vegas the first time was exactly how expensive it is, right? It's not just hey, book your room and then, you just need to go there and feed yourself McDonald's and whatever, just live off the scraps. It is super expensive. in Las Vegas, like, everything from like the, hotel resort fees every day to like the price of like, a cup of coffee, if that's your thing, and, the flight, not to mention that we're in the middle of COVID, the economic uncertainty, right? So it's like, this is an opportunity to network, to learn new things, to see cutting edge research and technology. And people are not able to do it because, they don't have the money to do it, to fly to Vegas or drive to Vegas or whatever the case, right? That's, to me, is a financial barrier to entry. And one of the things that we're very big on is trying to reduce those financial barriers to entry, so that at that point you just have to have the will to want to go, or the desire to want to train, right? Without those financial barriers, it becomes less of a, can I afford this, or do I come from a background that allows me to be able to have this opportunity, and more so, am I just have my ears to the ground and know about the opportunity. So for me, it's like, I want to be able to have people to be able to go out and meet new people, see new things, get inspired to, see all of the things that are possible. Not to mention that you get to, meet all these amazing people that are doing amazing things. So I think that's the most important part.
All right. And then how can your viewers support the scholarship program?
Yeah, so we are raising, we're trying to get 20 people to go. And like I just mentioned, it's very expensive. So we're trying to raise between $2,000 to $3,000 for each one of those people. That's just not like go around and, live your best life money. That is like flight, that is like transportation, that is hotel, that is food, that is basically come here and survive, money to be able to experience it. So we are both jointly raising funds. So I think it's $40,000 or $60,000, depending on whether we do $2,000 to $3,000. Ideally, if we get $60,000, then people will not have to come out of their own pockets for food. That was one of the things that we didn't cover last year, and I think a lot of people were hurt by that because it's very expensive, and I don't want people starving in 100 degree heat. So we're jointly raising money. We're both nonprofits, so 501c3 organizations. So it is a tax-free donation, or tax deductible, I should say, donation, and it's for a good cause. It's so that we will have lines in the girls' bathrooms and at the Diana Initiative and all of the things.
And so if individuals or companies want to donate, both of our websites have donate links on them. Ours is tdi.mobi/scholarship donate. Or if you want to apply, tdi.mobi/scholarship apply, and that will get you the short link. You can donate to either one of us. It doesn't matter. It's going into the same bucket and it's going to the same purpose. And neither one of us is taking anything off the top.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
so both your websites for more details about how to contribute, and who is eligible to apply.
So we said, I think it's over 16 years old if they're in school, but they have to be accompanied with a parent because, again, this is Las Vegas, and then underrepresented minorities. So that doesn't necessarily mean gender or racial minorities. That means if you fall into a category of other that's not traditionally represented at conferences, then you're eligible to apply.
Fantastic. And I know you mentioned your monetary goal. Do you have any other goals that you're hoping to achieve through the scholarship program this year?
So we're reaching out to Black Hat for tickets, both of us. Diana's donating tickets. We're trying to figure out how to get B-Sides Las Vegas tickets because those tend to sell out.
Go quickly.
So if anybody has like a backroom deal that we can work out to secure the tickets for the students for B-Sides Las Vegas, that would be great. For DEF CON, we're going to encourage them just to hold that amount of cash aside from the amount that we give them. And overall, we're also potentially looking for mentors, again, like to talk to people before the event and prep them for, this is what to expect, breaking your shoes ahead of time.
Important.
Don't wear flip-flops.
Oh, absolutely. Don't wear like jellies or anything that will melt from 100 degree.
You'll be sad.
But, we would absolutely love it if, companies, even if they don't want to make monetary donations, if they want to, purchase tickets to either Black Hat or DEF CON to donate to us, we would absolutely love that. We would love to be able to get all 20 of the folks over to B-Sides Las Vegas, the Diana Initiative, DEF CON, and I feel like there's, and Black Hat. Did I mention that? Black Hat. There's 4 of them. So we would love to get them, to all of the conferences so they can experience.
I know in the past I've had folks whose plans have changed or they've been unable to attend due to work commitments or family emergencies, things like that. Is that something that you would be willing to receive tickets from folks who are no longer able to attend, something that you could channel to recipients?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We will take any last minute because, we will have a list of people who want to go. And, unfortunately, we probably won't be able to help everybody who wants to go. But like if we, for some reason, raise $100,000 for their scholarship fund, then, we're just going to increase the number from 20 to whatever, So I think that, anybody who wants to give back to help any part of this, I think it will be very beneficial, downstream, and then also for the people who are able to receive the scholarships.
So just to reiterate, every single dollar that you collect through this scholarship program will go to scholarships. None of it is being retained by the organizations. None of it is going to operating costs. This is all going directly to the scholarship applicants who receive scholarships. That's amazing.
Correct.
Then shifting gears, we're going to talk about some other points that we have here that were shared with you earlier today and just give you an opportunity to kind of discuss those. There's no right answers here. So the Diana Initiative, Nicole, I think a lot of us in the community heard that you had a pretty rocky start to the year. Can you share more about the theft of the assets of the conference and what people in the community can do to help with that?
Yeah. So around the holidays, I got a call from our storage unit because obviously, like, we have a lot of stuff, and I live in Canada, and everybody else lives not in Las Vegas. So we put it in the storage unit each year. And so I got a call. Hey, did you come down to the storage unit recently? No, haven't been there since August. Okay, your door's open, like just completely open, and there's, it looks pretty empty in there. I'm like, okay, can you put a lock on it and I will be down as soon as I can. So after Shmoo, I flew out. I had my fingers crossed that maybe they just took miscellaneous stuff. I arrived, that hope was dashed. Everything of value was gone. The projectors, the projector screens, all of the brand new Weller soldering irons that we had worked so hard last year to raise the money for and buy were gone. Brand new. For anyone in the Maker Village, you can understand they're awesome and amazing, and they were gone. Yeah. So it was really just a very depressing way to start the year. That we fight for every dollar that we earn and save. For anybody who thinks it is inexpensive to run a event, it's not. Like, coffee at a hotel in Las Vegas is $98 a gallon plus 33% tax. Okay. So yeah, if you want to donate, you can donate to our event fund, which is different than the scholarship fund. That's dianainitiative.org/donate. That goes to overhead and buying things. Luckily, the community has raised enough money. We got all of our Weller soldering irons. And so at least Maker Village is a go. We have officially canceled the CTF for this year. Sadly, we just, that's, you need a wireless router and you need the hubs and you need the Ethernet cables. You got to, like, all of those things were gone. And including our crimpers. Like, we had nice crimpers and testers and they're gone. So we do have an Amazon wish list if people want to donate there, but cash is of course better because this way we could just buy whatever we need. So either way, we would really appreciate either, because it was not a great start.
Yeah, it sounds pretty devastating, and that's unfortunate that you had to cancel the CTF. So Nicole, do you have a little bit more time? I'll shift over because I know Tanisha's only got about 10 minutes, so I can give her an opportunity to cover just the final couple questions here, and then you and I can continue if you'd like, but I think we can knock this out in 10. So here we go. The Diana Initiative Conference, let's switch over to the next bullet because that's what I said I was going to do. All right. Girls Hack Village at DEF CON 30. How was your experience at DEF CON 30 and what results did you see from that?
It was absolutely amazing because I had expected it to be like, I was like, that's if anybody shows up. That's what I said to my team before, we actually got there. And then, as soon as the doors opened, like we were flooded. It was standing room only for all of our talks. And I think the part that was most amazing to me was that it was like 50% men, which I thought was absolutely crazy because I was like, I will be happy if women come, if girls and women come, but the fact that half of the people in there for all of the talks and panels and the workshops and all of the things were also men. I think that was absolutely amazing for me. We were able to see a lot of women speakers. Most of our speakers were women speakers. We had a panel that was basically just talking about what it's like to be a nonprofit operating in the space, and I think that it was very beneficial for us because we were able to bring 23 scholarship winners to come and be able to attend. So we were able to pay for their costs except for like their food. And, they were able to come and do all the things. And we threw like an epic 90s party on Saturday night. It's absolutely freaking amazing. So I think that a lot of people learned, we had great sponsors, great events. It was absolutely, literally the only thing that I could possibly say that did not turn out the way that I would have hoped is that the hotel was having AC issues. So it was really warm in our space during most of our things. And then the other thing, like Nicole mentioned, like $98 for a dozen cookies and 98. So when people look at our like prospectus and our sponsorship kits and they're like, why are you raising $100,000 for, a conference, especially like if it's like a short period of time? And it's like, you're not allowed to bring outside food. And the food that they actually have there is ridiculous, not to mention the fact that they put, Nevada tax on it and all the things. So, in order for us to be able to have, so many people in the space and, be able to do all the things, we need to be able to afford to be able to do that. And, we're both nonprofits that are operating in a space where, there are not a lot of people who are donating. So I think that it went, sorry.
You're good.
I think that it went really well. So I was happy. We had a list of things at the end of it that said, this is what we're going to do better for next time to, just like lessons learned. So I think that, once we hopefully get accepted this year, that it will be bigger and better.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it official yet? Can we say that you'll be back for next year, or is it still waiting for village approval?
Still waiting for village approval. We are hopeful. We did all the things that we were supposed to last year. We were very nice and cordial, all of the things that people said, just don't be a pain in the goons behind. So it should be fine. So I'm hoping that, that brings us some goodwill to be able to come back this year. But I think regardless of whether we're able to actually host our Girls Hack Village at DEF CON, we're still going to have people come. We still want them to be able to experience all of the cons. We will just, take up a room somewhere if we don't have our own village, but
come hang out in Sky Talks.
Yeah,
absolutely. I said that I was actually going to come over there and hang out, if not just to give you a hug and say hello in real life. So I am excited for what's going to happen. So
that's fantastic. I look forward to seeing you there. And the Diana Initiative Conference, would you like to promote anything specific to the conference for this year? Maybe some new considerations you'd like to share?
We have a career fair this year. So we've had a career village before where we do resume reviews and mock interviews. And a lot of our sponsors were asking to do actual interviews and resume collection. So we're having a career fair. We're trying it out. We're obviously going to get sponsor feedback and attendee feedback. So I know there's been a lot of layoffs. This could be an opportunity. And we give free tickets to students, unemployed and underemployed individuals. That has been the case for multiple years since I became COO. It will continue to be the case. If you have the money to buy one of our more expensive tickets, each one of our more expensive tickets subsidizes those free tickets. So please and thank you if you have the money. If not, we have free tickets available. We want everyone to come. So that is new and exciting. And I would love everyone to come and hopefully find a job.
That's awesome. I know that you've done the resume reviews in the past, and I think that this really takes that up to the next level. Is there an additional way that InfoSec professionals can get involved with either the Diana Initiative or Black Girls Hack?
Well, I know for us, and I think Tanisha is probably also going to be like me too, we always need volunteers to do 50 billion different things. So whatever your skill is, please just reach out and volunteer. It may take us a little while to get back because there's only so many of us, but just say and be clear. So this applies to when you're looking for a job or when you're volunteering. Please say what your name is, what skills you have, or if you saw a particular thing that you were interested in, and how to reach you. And if you give us that, we can either find a job for you if that's the case, or we can find a volunteering role for you. And so volunteer, please.
Absolutely. Volunteer. Even if you are not going to be in Vegas for that week, we exist the other 365 days of the year as well. So, we need volunteers. We need to keep, operating. We need workshops. We need, for people to see what it is that you do so that, they can, see it and believe it and be it and all of those things. So, even if you're not able to donate or actually be there at that time, if you want to, come out and help us in some way with your time, that would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's easy for folks to forget. They get all excited during the conference time period. They come home and then it's like out of sight, out of mind. They get busy with life. But you do work during the rest of the year, and you are there in need of volunteers every month. So that's perfect. I think that it leads really well into my next question, which is there anywhere out in the wild that people can catch you throughout the year? Where's the best place to connect with you, both in person and online?
I am going to RSA. I think it's next month. And I'm going to Minorities in Cybersecurity, which I think is the end of this month. And then, of course, Hacker Summer Camp. I'll be outside. Raices, which is like the Latin and cyber, like equivalent to what it is that we do. I'll be at their conference, I think, which is towards the end of the year. We've got a list of conferences. So if you're coming to any of those, I do accept masked hugs. So that would be absolutely amazing.
So for me, I will also be at RSA. I will be obviously at Hacker Summer Camp. I will be at the Securing Sexuality Conference in Detroit in October. For anyone who is a psychologist or a hacker, it's a weird cross-section conference, but go for it. And otherwise, you can find Diana Initiative and myself on Mastodon and LinkedIn, and connect with us there. And then we can also get you onto our Discord if you buy a ticket. So if you bought a ticket last year or you buy a ticket this year, you get a link to our Discord and you can come hang out there.
Great. And then I'll know we're getting close here on time. So I want to just give each of you an opportunity to include anything you forgot to say previously or that you wanted to point out as far as relevant to the conferences, fundraising, the scholarship program. Is there anything else either one of you would like to add?
I would say that we are still looking for sponsors for Girls Hack Village at DEF CON. We're also looking for organizational sponsors so we continue to do the training, upskilling, reskilling work that we do the rest of the year. So if you're a company and you are interested in increasing your diversity initiatives for the year, we would most definitely love to have a conversation with you. And then also if you are looking to volunteer or give back, even if it's just something as simple as just sharing our posts on social media, we can use all the help that we can get to, continue our missions and continue doing the good work that we're doing.
And I echo that. Our call for company sponsors is open for the event itself. Our call for individual donors is open. Our tickets are for sale. Our call for presenters is also open. Apply. Even if you don't think you have a chance of getting in, I don't care. Please apply anyway. I would love to work our reviewers to, make them review tons and tons of things. And then we will give you useful feedback and you can get a mentor to help improve it. So I would love that. And of course, you can volunteer to be staff, or you can volunteer, day of, and we would love to have you help out.
I started my proposal for my talk that I'm submitting to the Design Initiative
Nice.
last week. So, it will be coming.
Thanks so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to both of you about the scholarship programs, about your individual efforts as a DEF CON Village and a conference. And it's so wonderful to see the collaboration between the two organizations to support the common goals of your missions. Thanks again for joining us, and thanks to everyone who watched. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.